Hi, my name's Ken Benoit. I'm a certified golf course superintendent and executive director of the New York Golf Course Foundation. I recently rode my bicycle around the state of New York, covering over 1,000 miles to raise awareness of the importance for golf facilities to formally adopt best management practices, which are designed to preserve and protect our water resources. Along the way, I spoke with superintendents, university professors, and PGA professionals about the impact BMPs can have at their facility and beyond. We've also discussed specific BMPs that the superintendents have implemented at their facility. This project was made possible by funds awarded to the foundation by the New York State Turfgrass Association through the New York State's Turfgrass Environmental Stewardship Fund. In this video, we'll be speaking with Golf Course Superintendent Tom Kaplun. Tom will talk about the importance of BMPs, and he'll share with us some insight on how he uses water sensor technology to help guide his water management use decisions. Hope you enjoy the video, and please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks. So Tom, we're here talking about BMPs today, but before we get to your highlighted BMP, let's talk a little bit about BMPs in general and how they affect the golf industry. Why do you think anybody within the golf industry should be concerned or care about these BMPs?
Well, you know, Ken, really across the nation over the past decade or so, and particularly here in New York State, you know, there really has been a conscious effort both from politicians, from really anybody that deals with agriculture, the outdoors,
environmental groups.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, that deals with nature, really to make a concerted effort to protect our environment. And with the protection of the environment comes conservation efforts and comes a demonstration of efforts that we take as golf course managers and caretakers of some of the most precious green space, particularly here in New York State, to demonstrate how we really do put into practice environmental conservation.
So they're as much a communication device for people outside the industry as they are for us superintendents to use them for their science-based information.
Correct, Ken. Yes, I think you're right on with how you just summed that up.
So Tom, now let's shift our focus to a micro level and talk about adopting these BMPs at your particular facility and how that can be a benefit for you and your members.
We're surrounded on two sides by neighboring properties. So what we do, we want to make sure we keep internal so that we don't have any effect on non-targets outside of the property line. And that's where the BMPs have been very beneficial to us here at North Hempstead up in Port Washington.
Right, so your community is right on top of you. So you have the potential to have a big impact on your surrounding community based on your management decision making.
We always take into account the neighboring properties and also to, you know, the families that are involved here at the club, and wanted to make sure that, you know, what we do out on the golf course is done in from a best management standpoint with safety, you know, and conservation at the forefront.
Well, and you're all drinking the water, right? Right. So you have a vested interest because you're drinking the water that you're protecting.
That's right. Correct. And you know, and on Long Island, that's probably one of the most important hot button topics right now environmentally is our drinking water and how do we protect our drinking water. And I certainly think that needs to remain a large initiative.
So Tom, now we're going to address the BMP that you want to talk about today that has to do with water conservation, water management decision making. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right, yeah, thanks, Ken. So we really pride ourselves on how we can best water here at North Hempstead and how we can be most effective with the limited amount of water that we have to put out on the golf course.
Right. So you you've evolved that initial program of using handheld moistures to now include other sensors, they're permanent sensors in your green. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Back in 2011, we did an irrigation system upgrade, and we really compartmentalized with the sole goal of adding more heads. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but we added more sprinkler heads than we previously had so that we could better control our water and really pinpoint and make it more accurate and precise as to how we put it out.
I think that's an important element to an irrigation system that most laymen don't understand. They usually will associate more heads with more water use, but it really is the opposite, right? Because you
Yes.
have more control.
Exactly right. More control, more ability to be able to dictate what gets a certain amount of water where. And so that gives us more precision. And these in-ground sensors even take that to another level.
So Tom, tell me a little bit about the data that you're extracting from these in-ground sensors.
Sure. So at the same time that we put the irrigation system in, we also put these sensors back in. Physical sensors that go into the ground that measure three things. They measure the salinity of the soil, they measure the moisture of the soil, and then they measure the temperature of the soil. And so really two of the three of those things we use, the temperature and the moisture. Salinity I do not worry so much about with pushed up greens, but the temperature and soil moisture are critical in allowing us to figure out when we can make certain chemical applications for root-borne diseases, and also to how we're watering. Are we reaching the effective root zone, and have we put down enough water? And do we need to water?
Right, right. So this has really allowed you to become a much more efficient water manager.
Yes, a much more efficient water manager. It's allowed us to really conserve water. I would say probably in the last 10 years, based on the data that I've collected, I would say that since we've been able to put these sensors in, we've saved anywhere from 10 to 15% of our normal water consumption with these in-ground sensors out on the property.
Well, that's amazing. And here's the kicker. You also have healthier turf grass because you're delivering the right amount of water. Is that right?
That's right. We do. It takes, like I said, the handheld meters combined with the in-ground soil sensors, they take all the guesswork out of it, and it comes down to science, which is what the best management practices are really about.
So you're using these sensors to help drive your decision makings. For instance, if you're using if you're going to be putting a pesticide out, you can dry your soils down to a point that you'll get maximum efficiency from that pesticide application.
Yeah, correct, Ken. When Mother Nature cooperates and we are free of rain, I like it best for the applications that you talked about, like the chemical applications, the fertilizer applications, and I'm able to actually see where my moisture levels are at and get my moisture levels to a certain point where I know that the turf grass and the soil below is going to be receptive for that effective application with no runoff, with no waste of product.
Well, it's a fascinating topic, and again, I really look forward to seeing that stuff evolve and watching guys like you adopt those technologies and use them so smartly on your golf courses. Thanks for having us here today, Tom, and best of luck for the upcoming season.
Thank you, Ken. It was great to speak with you.